They say you don't have the legal authority. Do you or don't you?
Well, today I issued an executive order. We have 47,000 people in North Carolina who have been without their benefits. This is all federal money. And let me just be very direct about that federal money. About $11 million a week going through cash registers in North Carolina. This is money that's going to make a difference not just to the unemployed folks, but to the merchants and businesses across the state. So it's economic. 47,000 people were in an economic emergency. I've talked to some of them, y'all have talked to some of them. It's hard stuff when you don't have a job and you've looked for a job and you think there's just a little bit of money from the feds because the feds believe that it's a hard economy. This isn't North Carolina's problem. This is a global recession that we're coming out of. And so, yeah, and I've given the General Assembly all the time in the world. When we were told by the feds about this opportunity for these extended benefits, we offered to write a bill. I think we sent the General Assembly a draft bill that would allow these benefits to be restored. They could have done it in 2 days. They could have done it in 1 day if they wanted to spin their rules. And they chose not to. And so I have waited and waited and waited and asked them to send me a clean bill. And yesterday on the floor, the Democrats sent up an amendment one more time to say just strip it out of the budget and let's do it straight up so these 47,000 people can get their benefits. And lo and behold, do you think they'd do the right thing? Absolutely not. They voted the amendment down. And so last night I went home and said, I am over this. These people deserve the benefits. It's federal money. It doesn't cost this state anything out of our coffers. And there are people who are desperate for this money, and I'm going to do it. Talk to my lawyers, talk to the Department of Labor, and here we are today. We're told now that sometime next week, if we're lucky, about 20,000 of the folks will get the first round of checks. Ordinarily, it takes about 10 days. These were already in the system, and I'm hopeful within the next 8 or 10 days, the rest of the folks will get their benefits. And so it's going to help them. It's going to help people pay for food, for clothes. It's going to help people pay their house payment, their light payment, and their medical payment. It's the right thing to do. And so let them talk about me. Let them call me incompetent. I really don't care.
Governor, why did you know you had this executive power?
I thought they'd do the right thing. I've waited for them to do the right thing.
For 7 weeks?
Yes.
Why 7 weeks when people were being thrown out of their homes?
Let me just ask you this. Why didn't they do the right thing? Why didn't they do the right thing? I have waited trying to do what was the process to do, and I'm over it. I've tried to be a team player and to do the right stuff. I'm over it. I gave them a chance. We wrote their bill, asked them the question, why didn't they do what we've asked them to do? Not once, but 3 or 4 times. Send me a clean bill and restore these benefits to people who deserve them.
Governor, why is there a right thing to do if you're talking about 47,000 people without a paycheck? Isn't the right thing just to get them that money as soon as possible?
Well, the right thing is to work through the process. Not until yesterday had we talked to labor and decided that we could move in this direction. By now it becomes an economic emergency for 47,000 people. I mean, they've waited, we've asked them to do the right thing. I wanted to be partnership with the General Assembly, so there were no questions. And I'm just over it. It's time to do the right thing for these people. I'm glad that we've done it. And
why did you wait until yesterday to talk to labor?
Because why did the General Assembly refuse to do the right thing over and over? I have tried to figure out a way to work with them, want to work with them. This is a big state, 9.5 million people, 3 more million people moving in. We've got big challenges with schools and jobs and the future workforce of this state. You need a General Assembly that works together. You need to be bipartisan. Republicans and Democrats need to reach out and work with each other. I have made every attempt to do that. I have tried for the last 6 weeks to work on something that ought to have brought us together as a team. This should not have been about who holds whom hostage. They were holding me hostage, but they were really holding 47,000 people hostage. So yeah, finally I'm going to act on my own. I'm tired of waiting for a partner that does the right thing. I'm doing what I know is right for the people of this state, for those 47,000 people.
Governor, what will you do with the budget once you get it?
I don't know. It's a huge document. Today I've been asked about a couple of special provisions that I haven't seen, so I have the document on my desk. I assume it's how it's going to be tonight. So I'm looking as the document. As soon as the House finishes the debate, I'll know that it's what it is, and then I intend to read every single word. It's what I've done with every budget that I've been a part of. I'm not going to sign anything until I know that it's a good, clean document, and then I don't know if I'll sign it at all. It's not predetermined that I'm going to veto it. I haven't made my mind up. But I am sorry that it's come to this.
Two more questions, please. Zero more
Governor, you mentioned the open mic comments, the fact that they called you incompetent. The second part of Representative Stam's comment was that this was the worst thing that you've done. Would you like to respond to that? How do you see it?
You know, I've told my staff that since I've been governor, sometimes there's just a real right thing to do, and you know it's the right thing to do. I knew that the day I was in China and heard about the prisoners. I really knew that. I said, why in the world are we in North Carolina going to let these prisoners out? And a lot of people told me, you can't do it, it's illegal, you can't get into this, you're going to lose all this stuff. And I said, let them put me in jail. You heard me say that night on the mic. This is not the same kind of incident, but it's the same kind of feeling. This is simply the right thing to do. And if Skip Stam has the audacity to tell me that I'm incompetent over doing something that's going to make the 47,000 people's lives better, let him, and shame on him.
Governor, could
question
you tell the House, the 5 Democrats in the House, that if they were able to get money added back in for teachers and teachers' assistants, that you would vote for the budget?
I talked to the 5 members that I assume you're talking about, and I believe the conversation was such that I would, it was my same language from the state of the state. I will not be the first governor who turns my back on teachers and teachers' assistants. And so there was conversation, but there was never a commitment from me about anything being held hostage. You know me better than that. Nobody holds me hostage, and nobody holds the state of North Carolina hostage. This is a great state, and we're better than what's happening in North Carolina. You all, people all over the country are talking about North Carolina. If you didn't hear Bill Friday's language yesterday on that call about higher ed, you ought to go hear that tape. He was powerful, poignant, emotional, a man in his 90s who spent his life trying to build a state and a system that provided opportunity for everybody else. And he said, we're going backwards. You all, we're better than this. This is North Carolina. This is not another state. We can do better than we're doing. I'm proud to be part of helping 47,000 people, and I'm sorry to know that others in the General Assembly think that's the wrong decision, but I really don't care. This is the right thing for me and the right thing for North Carolina. Thank you.
Questions on the timing. If you